eventually, to speed it up, it just got more and more and more. And then that woman, she got close to me, and it was like I felt her presence, and I was like, oh, is this for her? And I was like, oh. And because it's embarrassing, being naked, it's embarrassing. And especially being naked when no one else is naked, right? Or willing to be. And so I was folding clothes, and I'm crying, and I'm like, Lord, just stop. Just like tell, or at least tell me why. Tell me what this is for. And the store is closing, and she starts to throw a pen at me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's for her. Okay, Lord. And so this woman that I wanted to pray for, she was actually drawn to me because of that sensitivity. And not in a way that I would have wanted, but in a way that Jesus would have wanted. And so she's like, babe, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, why don't we go sit in my car? I'll ask your supervisor if we can go on break. So I'm walking out, and it's just getting more and more, and I'm weeping over this woman that I barely know. We get in her car, she lights a blunt, okay? And she's like, what's going on? And I was like, this is for you. And I was like, all the pain that you've walked through in your life, Jesus, these are his tears for you. Mm-hmm. He's seen you. He knows the pain that you're walking in. These are tears over your life. And she just looked at me and she teared up a little bit. She was like, you are weird. Like, okay. She's like, you're so sweet. Like, I don't want you to cry over me. And it wasn't me. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as, and it was freezing, and she put a coat on me, she drives me up, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again, but just know that Jesus, the God-man, is weeping over your current situation. And over every time your car got broken into, these curses, these generational things, all of this, he is weeping, and he wants to intervene. And the reason I know it was him is because right when I walked in, I was fine. And I was like, okay, you put me on display like that. And then I went in the bathroom, and he was like, those were not your tears, they were mine. And I'm just looking for people to cry my tears. And I was like, I will, but what? Like, in certain parameters. But what we signed up for is to be interrupted. Because there's so many people, and this world does not need, Proverbs, da-da-da, go for it. Like, they don't need that, because they're walking in so much death and pain. And we need to be willing to sit with them, hold their hand, and walk with them. Because Jesus didn't just say, Britt, you've got this, and stir me up, and then run ahead of me. He was right with me. And I feel like so many people get left behind, and so many people leave the church and leave Jesus because the example is, I'm running, and you're not running with me. See ya. But it's, are we willing to pause and be sensitive and fight and pray and intercede and cry? Because that scripture, I prayed for you. Jesus is looking for people to pray with him. And his prayers, they're not just, Lord, help them. It is, Father, you promised me them. I am claiming that. I rebuke everything that's coming against them. I am fighting, and it said blood, sweat, tears. And that's what he introduced me to in that season. And it was so painful, but it brought me into him in a way that you have to taste and see for yourself, honestly. And I heard someone say, like, the difference of the oils in the parable of the 10 virgins. They all had oils, but then the 5 ran out of oil. And he was like, well, why couldn't the 5 virgins give them oil? Because this is oil that's your history with God. It's oil from that secret place that you can't impart to anyone. It's I just can tell you about it. I know the door. I know how to get there. But it's going to look so much different for you. And it's a private audience with Jesus. And it changed me. He didn't just mold me or like but like I'm a new creation because of how close he held me. And I had this dream where I was in a vehicle and someone else was driving, and in the dream I had heard that I was going to be in a car accident. And in the dream I was like, cool. And then everyone else was like, yeah, it sounds right. And I was like, hold on a second. Like in the dream I was like, that's not a good thing. I've never been in a car accident. Don't ever want to be. But in the dream I was like, yeah, I'm going to be in a car accident. And in the dream, you know, in the movies where it pans out, like you watch your body and your spirit. So in the dream, my body's going like this, and I'm like, oh, it's happening. Complete peace. And I'm pulling away, and I see that I'm in the grips of an animal. And as I look and I pan up, I see that it's a lion. And I see that the animal is absorbing all the hits. So my body's going like this, and the animal's absorbing the hits. And in the dream, I see the eyes, and I'm like, those are the eyes of the Lion of tribe of Judah. And I wake up, and I'm shaking, and I'm convinced I'm going to be in a car accident. This hasn't happened. But I had some people interpret the dream, and one of my friends said, Brittany, I believe that's the journey that you're in right now. And I don't know if any of you guys are in the midst of something, but she was like, did you see how the car accident ended? Did you die? I was like, I don't know. And she said, well, was it even a car accident? I was like, I don't know. And she said, what I feel like God's asking you in the middle is it worth it? Because you got to see his face. And you got to be in his grip. And I started weeping. And I was like, yes, it's worth it. I don't care how this ends. I don't care if I get what I'm asking for. Because my gaze turned from what I was asking for to I just want to be with you. And that's something that our human flesh, I mean, that's a journey that you have to go through to convince your flesh that he's enough, that he's actually worth it more. So I prayed for 5 years for something that the Lord talked to me about every single day. And then he basically said, let it die. And I was like, I don't understand that. And like I said, I'm a bold woman. I would have marched and said, let's do this thing. But he asked me not to. And so I'm not standing here saying, happy ending. I know and I understand it all. I'm saying it died and he's worth it.
Amen.
He is so worth it. And I feel like some of you guys are in the middle. And maybe you haven't invited him into that pain. And I'm telling you that there's a private encounter waiting for you. And he wants to look at you, and he wants to sit with you, and it will change you, and that is what will keep your oil burning. It will not be the power you walk in. It will not be the signs that you see. Case in point, Alumni. I'm just being real. Because my question was, I don't understand. They saw the same things that I did. They saw the same things, but it's a constant pursuit. It's a willingness to walk through any journey because he's a shepherd, and if he has to break you to keep you close, ask for that. Because our flesh is weak. And I'm so thankful for the journey of immense pain because it kept me close and it broke me in such a way that it transformed me. It's like, that stuff is good, but just take me to where he is. I actually just want to be with him. And if he's not a part of it, it's really hard for me. I went to this, I'm very passionate about racial healing. I can't stand racism. It's from the pit of hell. And I went to this celebration of Martin Luther King. And people were dancing and singing. And I felt like Jesus was like, I'm over here weeping. And I was like, I want to be in step with where you're at. If you're in the garden over something, I want to be in the garden with you. And something that my counselor said was, she was like, Brittany, you know Jesus in the garden, but you don't know the resurrected Christ. And I was like, okay, that rocked me. And then I was like, so am I entering into a season of resurrection? And she's like, well, yes, but you have to take up your cross daily. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like that season forever. And I feel like he's asked me to be in this tension of death and resurrection. And it's, okay, Lord, which one? Who does this person in front of me need? Do they need Jesus who's like, hope, nothing is impossible with God, stir up your faith? Or is it Jesus who's in the garden weeping, saying, I understand, Father, why have you forsaken me? Father, not my will but yours. You know, like, which one? What facet, what part of your nature do people need? And he's shown me all these different facets of his nature. And I pray that you all get to know him in a way that you think you know him, but you don't really know him. I'm telling you, I feel like he's like standing here and he's coming to each of you and he's showing you a different part of his face in the way that you need. And the most beautiful thing to me about Jesus is he meets every single one of us exactly where we are. And it looks different for all of us. I mean, there's balloons all over here. I love it. So like he's a celebrator. So if you need to be celebrated, like he's a celebrator and he's shouting to the angels, you know, and he's like, oh, look at my girl, look at my son. But then at the same time he's over here holding someone who just lost their baby. Like how I can't fathom that. But he is the answer. So Holy Spirit. There was, on my journey, a lot of people were like, are you sure this is God? Because you're broken a lot. And it aggravated me because when did the church start believing that suffering was not of God? Right? When? Because that's not true. And it's setting people up for offense, for bitterness, for all kinds of things. And he showed me, so as I was wrestling with that, because I was like, you're right, I'm in a lot of pain. Surely you wouldn't lead me to a place of pain. And he was like, Britt, you never would have chosen this trail. I invited you. You would have never, it was an unmarked trail. You got tore up on this. But you met me in there. And it brought such, there's just something that needs to shift of when we see people in pain, it's like, ooh, you're going to meet him there. Ooh, you're going to meet him there and you're going to come out leaning in a way that's going to keep you close to him. Because I want to walk with a limp of, I can't do this without you, Jesus. And I don't ever want to get so, and something else in counseling, I was like, I feel like I'm doing really hard inner healing, deep work, asking myself hard questions about my childhood and all this stuff, and I was like, I feel like I'm like getting healthy and whole, but why do I feel like I'm more dependent on him? So there's like this thing of like the healthier we get, the more independent. That's a lie. The healthier I become, the more I'm like, oh, like I can't do this. I can't do this without you. I don't want to. And so I see for all of you here, maybe you didn't know what you were walking into, but this is an invitation to go to the dark with Jesus. To go to a place that he's longing for everyone to go to, but not many come because it's really painful. But you get to see his face in a way that others don't. And the image I had when I was talking to Wilderness America in California was a gate. And it's like these depths with him. It's like, oh, I'm in this gate, I'm good, you know? I know my way around here. So he's like, will you come further? And there's like thorns and, you know, it's like, this is scary. I've never been here. I don't know a lot of people who would go here. He's like, will you come? Will you come here? Because there's a private audience, and there's something that he wants to speak to you and to impart to you through walking in that broken space with him, that naked space that will keep you for the rest of your life. And we're seeking these things that are like flashes in a pan. I'm after lifestyles. I'm sorry, but the world race was a field trip. It was. It was an 11-month field trip. It was glimpses. And then I got back and it was like, oh, wait. This is a relationship. This is covenant. This is a lifestyle. So I pray that for everyone here, you enter this space and figure out lifestyle. Lifestyle with the King of Kings. To where no matter what happens, a phrase he just gave me was in sickness and in health, for better or worse. And it's been worse for me. It's been worse. But I'm in it. I'm in it. And I'm going to fight, and I'm going to do everything I can to stay in it. And the way that I have stayed in it is by knowing that he is God, but he is also man who can relate to me and who doesn't get frustrated when I'm weak and who's like ready to go on a mission, but is like, oh, you're not ready, I'm going to sit with you. I just want to stay with you. You're not alone in this. There's an urgency, but there's not an urgency for this. This takes time. This is years. This is years of sowing in and meeting him in this space. And so if anyone wants to accept that invitation, I just invite you to stand. And if it's okay with you, I just want to pray for you. Something that my counselor told me was, God's given me the gift of desperation and pursuit. So, Father, I just release that across this room, a desperation to see your face and a pursuit. And Jesus, I thank you for the ones in here who are saying, we want to run and we want to be in love even through the pain. And Father, for anyone who's in the midst right now, I ask that they would meet you in this space in a way that they've never met you before. So Holy Spirit, come. Lead us and guide us into all truth. Introduce us to the man who is at the right hand of the Father interceding for us, who's catching our tears, who's recording every act of obedience and saying, you love me, she loves me, she's still in love with me. Angels, look at how Satan's desired to sift her. She's still in love with me. She's still in love with me. He's still in love with me. So, Father, I ask that they would feel your pleasure right now. That through it all, they're still in love with you. And I ask that something would be solidified in our heart, that we will still be in love with you. No matter the cost, no matter the tragedy, no matter the suddenlies that come our way, from behind, from unexpected, we still choose you. You're still worthy to be chosen. So, Father, I just ask that you would touch them right now. Your strength to go even deeper with you, Lord. I just see you digging. It's like you're deep, but he's asking you to go even deeper with him. Even deeper. Father, I ask for grace. for covenant. So as you're standing there, I don't know what he's inviting you to. I don't know what he's asking or bringing up. The Holy Spirit, we just give you permission. Lead us to wherever it is you would have us go. And Father, I ask for courage for people to go against the grain. For people to go to spaces no one else will go. For people, for a sensitivity to rest in us of seeing things that other people don't see. Because you see every one of your sheep, and you leave the 99 to go after the one. So Father, in our journeys of being found by you in the darkness, may we receive eyes to see those that are hidden, those that are running away. I just thank you for this time. I thank you for the journey that you brought me on. I thank you for the tears. And an image that he spoke to me when I was in Dallas a few days ago was that he catches our tears and he transforms them into balloons. And look at the room that we're in. Come on. I mean, I have cried a lot of tears. A lot of tears. And he's recorded them all. And I saw the enemy standing over, trying to prevent the blessings, trying to prevent the faithfulness of God from coming over my life. And I saw balloons falling, and he's like, these are your tears. Because Jesus couldn't enter into the resurrection until he died. So we have to be willing to die over and over again. Because every good gift comes down, and I don't want anything that this world has to offer. Any counterfeits, joy, anything that is cheapened. I want something of substance. And that's a joy that Psalm 126, those who mourn, those who go out in tears, will come back with joy. So I'm just prophetically speaking, if you're walking into this season with him, that is the joy set before you. It's his face, and it's his pleasure. He's saying, this is my daughter. And I feel him saying that over me. She still loves me. I still love him. And I didn't get what I was asking for. It died. And there's so many questions, there's so many things that I don't understand, but yet I choose him.
Amen.
Because I met him along the way, and being with him convinced me that he's worth it. even if I don't receive what I'm longing for. And I pray for that for all of you. There's so many things that we won't receive on this side of heaven. And there's so many things, if you're a contender, that you may not see in this lifetime. It's for the next generation. And I want to be someone who has that long-term vision, just like Jesus. I'm enduring this cross. I'm enduring this betrayal, this shame, for the joy set before me. Father, what is that joy? It's us. It's us saying, we love you. We're going to follow you. We're going to do the same, whatever the cost. So, Lord, I just thank you, and I give you all the praise and all the glory. And I ask that you would encounter every single person in this room in the way that they need you. And I know that you're going to do it because you did it for me. And I heard your voice clearly for 5 years. And you helped me walk through this journey. And even at the end when you went silent and I didn't receive what I was longing for, you're still good.
Amen.
You're still faithful. And in his time, he will begin to bring understanding. He'll begin to show you the whys and bring purpose to the pain. And I'm still waiting for that. So I haven't gotten there. I've just fell in love with a man along the way. And he's the only one worth following. He's the only one worth any of this. There's no other man. There's no other thing. There's no other gift. There's no other spiritual gift. There's no other leader. There's no one else other than Jesus who will keep me on this journey. And I didn't have that until I met him in the dark. So I just ask for grace upon grace upon grace to say yes to whatever it is you're inviting them to.
Amen.
And I'm more than willing to pray for you guys if you want it. I'm just here. I don't wake up from here. The Holy Spirit. That's it. But we can stay.
No, we don't want to.
Thank-
I
Come
want
on,
to leave.
guys. Let's just linger here.
Thank you so much for sharing, Britt.
Yeah, those who linger get things that those who miss out on. Take courage and wait on the Lord. And I didn't understand that because I was like, what's courageous about sitting on your butt? Because I'm a fighter. And he was like, it's trusting that I'll come.